Well, today we're going to look at our subject pronouns. And the first thing I suppose we should do is make sure we know what a subject pronoun is. And in English, our subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, we. And generally we use these with verbs to say like I run, you run, etc. Well, to know how to use them in Spanish, we need to start with our famous box of 6. And if you've studied Spanish before, this will be a little familiar, but a quick refresher will be good. And if you've not studied Spanish before, well, get used to this box because you are going to use it a lot. Alright, so this box of 6 we use for a lot of different things, but today we're going to use it to talk about our subject pronouns. So what I want to do first is look at each one of these and show you which box represents what. So the box that represents I is right here. The box that represents you, like how are you doing today, is right here. And we have that singular. And then we have he, she. Alright, and if we go back up, we have I. Well, what is the plural? So now let's work on the plural column. The plural of I is we. And then the plural of you is you plural. And maybe you say you guys, maybe you say you all, maybe you say y'all, maybe you say you. Those are all acceptable. And then we have they. Now if you'll notice, we still have 2 over here. We have you singular and you plural. And that's because in Spanish, we have 2 ways to say you. Like how are you doing if I'm talking to one person. One is informal and one is formal. In that same way, we have 2 ways to say you plural. One is formal and one is informal. So step 2 is to know, well, how do we say each of these subject pronouns? So the subject pronouns that we have are yo, tú with an accent, él with an accent, ella, and our second is usted. Also, you can abbreviate that UD, just like we would abbreviate, say, doctor with DR. That's a U right there. For we have nosotros and nosotras. So the only difference are those last 2 letters that we have there. You plural, vosotros and vosotras. Again, the only difference, those last 2 letters. And then for they, we have ellos, ellas. Again, the only difference, the last 2 letters. And then you plural, remember we have 2 ways to say you and you plural, ustedes. And we can abbreviate that UDS. Both are acceptable. Well, let's go ahead and look at a few of the particulars here. If you'll notice right here, we have nosotros and nosotras. Well, this would be if we have just a group of men or boys, but if every person in there is a man or male, then we would use this form. We would say nosotras to say we if we were all female. Well, what would happen if we had some females and some males and we wanted to say we? Well, then we're going to use this one. Okay, well, this is going to work the same way with vosotros. You're talking to you, plural, so you're talking to a group of people and you want to identify them as, hey, y'all. Well, if you had all males, you would use that form. If you had all females, this form. And what if you had male and female? We will say vosotros. So this follows the same when we have the ellos form. If we're saying how are they doing or they are dancing, we're referring to all males or referring to all females. And then if we have male and female, we would use that form. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to know. With our nosotros, our vosotros, and our ellos, we have to look at what kind of group of people that we have. The second thing we need to take a look at is we have a way to say you and a way to say you. And this is both if we're talking to a single person, but this one up here, that is informal. This one down here, that is formal. You're going to learn more about that in another video, but just know that you have the two. So we have vosotros and ustedes. Informal, formal. And the only thing that we need to know in particular about the vosotros form, we don't use it in Latin America. So in Spain, we have both the vosotros and the ustedes. But in Latin America, we only have the ustedes form for the plural informal and the plural formal. One final thing to keep in mind is that in Spanish, when we're using the subject pronouns, we use them sparingly. In English, we use our subject pronouns a lot, but in Spanish, the subject is implied with the verb. It's already there, and so you only really use these subject pronouns to clarify. All right, well, you need to go out and memorize. Start drawing that box of 6. Put in an I, you, he, she, we, y'all, they. Put in a yo, tu, él, ella, usted, etc., etc. The only way you're going to get good is if you practice. Go out and talk to some people and let me know how it goes. Suerte.